Good evening. Embattled Buffalo Bishop Richard Malone is again saying tonight he will not step down, despite growing calls for him to do just that.
And he is refusing to talk to 7 Eyewitness News about the information we uncovered in our I-Team investigation into allegations of child sex abuse. But the bishop did choose to speak just a short time ago to WBEN Radio. I-Team Chief Investigator Charlie Specht is outside WBEN studios in Amherst. Charlie.
Well, that's right. We are live here at WBEN Radio Studios, where the bishop completed an interview about an hour ago with radio hosts David Bellavia and Tom Bowerly. Now, we thought we might get a word with the bishop here on his way in or out of the studios. He actually, if you look behind me here, avoided us by going down a loading dock into the bowels of the studio. The media was assembled here and thought that we might grab him for a second to answer a few of our viewers' questions. That did not happen. He sped off after the interview. Once inside the studios, he addressed the obvious here, the situation with his whistleblower, Siobhan O'Connor, his former secretary, with radio host Tom Bowerly, suggesting that maybe he went too far in his criticism of his former secretary. He said that he was not trying to be vindictive, and he said, "I feel no retribution to Siobhan, and I have to trust her confidence." Now, he was then questioned directly, and more directly than many people would have maybe expected during this interview, about Father Art Smith. Father Art Smith, of course, the subject of our I-Team investigation relating to sexual misconduct by that priest in Hamburg. The bishop was asked directly, is Father Art Smith a sexual predator? He did not answer that question, but he did for the first time apologize and called it a mistake on my part, reassigning him back into ministry after he had been previously suspended by Bishop Kimmett. Let's hear what the bishop has to say about that case.
When I did sign off on his request to be a chaplain on a cruise ship, that was a mistake on my part, and I kicked myself for having done that. We had decided with Art Smith, because, again, the Facebook incident did not rise to technically to be sexual abuse, to keep him in some limited ministry. Now, that backfired too, because even sending him to work in a old folks home, in a nursing home, nothing happened with children, but there were some inappropriate actions with adults, and so we were dealing with him, but not in a way I would do it now. I admit my failure there.
Now, the Bishop Malone also for the first time addressed the 60 Minutes bombshell investigation that aired last Sunday. He called certain parts of that interview false in regards to the 8 or 9 priests who are alleged to have abused, who are still in the diocese. Of course, the bishop did not do an interview with 60 Minutes or with us before that in an attempt to clear that up. Also, he was asked, are there any current priests who are abusers in the diocese? He said, quote, not that I know of, an answer that is surely going to leave his critics wanting for more specifics. Now, we also spoke with Catholics before this interview who were assembled outside the Catholic Center. Coming up here at 6 o'clock, you're going to hear from some of those Catholics who say it's great that the bishop apologized, but it's certainly not enough, and they believe that he still needs to leave the Diocese of Buffalo. Live at WBEN Studios in Amherst, Charlie Specht, 7 Eyewitness News.